On today's show, we're diving into a provocative idea: the possible end of the traditional 9 to 5 job by 2034. How will AI and the gig economy reshape our lives in the coming decade? I'm Daniel,
I'm Matheus.
and this is the Human AI Experience. We'll be right back.
So, Daniel, I was reading about an interview with the co founder of LinkedIn, Heids Hoffman. And then this guy is well known, or he is famous to have some good predictions about technology and how the world is evolving. So, for example, he predicted social networks will change the world. So, of course, he's the LinkedIn co founder, so he was predicting something that he was involved with. He saw the sharing economy coming, the early Airbnb investor, so he put money on Airbnb. And he called it the AI revolution years before the ChatGPT reach out. So he is kind of known about having a good eye for the future. And his new prediction is about gig economy. Have you heard about it?
No?
So gig economy is actually a new way of work that he's predicting till 2034, let's say. 50% of the US population, they will be mainly freelancers, or they will have 3 or 4 gigs, they call it. So for example, you will work like in some work, for example, editing videos for one company, doing some, I don't know, like artwork for another company, doing some, I don't know, podcasts, just giving examples, random examples. But we will have different works and different tasks within different companies, and then this is a way of growing your salary. So because you'll be so much specialized, and then you focus in many different companies. That's his prediction.
Well, this is kind of already happening, right? In the last year, 2023, and the beginning of this year were basically stained by, if I remember correctly, in the tech world, there has been 350,000 layoffs. That's a lot of people out of job from, in the span of 1.5 years, right? A lot of people, these people, won't be able to get get back to the job market, which means that they will have to find alternatives to make money, right? So I have seen a lot of people transition into freelancing. It's no, of course, it's not a easy. Depends on what you are capable of, and then what is the market for freelance. Because not all jobs can you can become a freelancer, but in the tech industry, there's a lot of alternatives. So it's kind of like already happening. It's interesting that he's
Yeah, yeah,
interesting prediction.
yeah. I feel the same. Like I feel that it's already happening, and we are having less work in general, I think. So his prediction is like the work day will become obsolete in 10 years. Which for me is a bit too strong, because some work they will continue, of course, but yeah, as you mentioned, like some works related to technology, they will be spread, and then you have like different works.
Um, yeah, there's a lot of type of jobs that cannot, I wouldn't say cannot be automated at the time being, at least, but that you need the people interaction. You need to be on site, for example. That I would assume that is talking more about the kind of jobs that involves like a computer, or like mostly tech jobs, I guess. But 50% of the U.S. population, that's a lot.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like,
I don't know how much this. I think it's an ambitious prediction, let's say. But the thing is that because of the technology advancements, particularly AI, he's saying that the remote jobs will rise more and more. and this kind of gig economy that I, to be honest, I haven't heard about it until I read some articles about it. There is this kind of economy that you have different roles, which for me it matches a lot with some predictions that a lot of people were saying, that we will have more than one profession, and we will change through our careers, and I feel that that might be one way. You're not gonna just let go what you have learned, but you're gonna use it in different ways or different tasks. So I feel that something that we can definitely do.
So if I read that correctly, in order for you to be having multiple roles, you have to be a generalist, right?
I believe that, but he tells more in the article, in the interview that I saw it. He said more specialized work.
Okay,
So
interesting.
yeah, yeah. But I believe the same as you. If you are a generalist, you have more options to work with different tasks.
And you, but yes, and if you are assisted with AI, AI can augment your weaknesses, and you can do, maybe you can be more versatile in the work that you provide by using AI.
Oh, definitely. And about AI, he said that the AI tools, they will like enabling more flexibility in your work, by automatizing some repetitive tasks and allowing works to focus in creative areas, which I think it aligns a lot with what we already have as a perspective and we were discussing here in the podcast a lot.
Speaking about automatizing tasks, I've seen this presentation of, I can't remember his name, but this this guy was presenting, talking about AI and talking how he automated his Gmail with ChatGPT. So there's like a plugin that you can, of course, you have to pay ChatGPT because it's a lot of information exchange that happens in there. But basically, there's a Chrome plugin that you can install that integrates your ChatGPT trained with your own way of speaking, the way you want to communicate with your Gmail. So basically, it reads all your messages, reply to all of them, but instead of sending, it just creates a draft of all the emails, and
Yeah.
then he said that that saves him 1.5 hours per day. If you do the math, 1.5 hours per day on a week is basically 1 day a week saved in time. 1 day a week in a year is basically a month of time saved by automation. It's crazy. It's really
Yeah,
crazy.
it's really crazy. Yeah, it might be a little bit exaggerated, but but that's an interesting perspective. If you have more free time, you can focus in what is important. I think the 20-80 rule, the twenty
But even if
percent.
it's not, yeah, but even if it's not a month, a year that you save, but 2 weeks,
Yeah,
it's already time well, much well spent instead of just replying to emails. There's a lot of emails that are just formality, not all of them. Um, but of course, you have to look into all these emails and revise them. But it would take you 3 times more if you would have to write them from scratch. So
yeah,
it is a good time saving.
yeah, definitely. And talking about productivity, he said like the lawyers they already increased like 200% their productivity because of AI. And if you think about it, that's true because there's a lot of data that they need to reach out. They need to take similar cases so they can base their arguments in other cases. So these functionalities, I can see clearly that AI can help a lot.
I I recently saw. I don't know if you're familiar with the Nielsen Norman Group.
No.
It's a big research group. Basically, they are considered the the founders of or the fathers of UX or user experience design, basically, because they run a lot of research. They're a research group, and they have been doing some qualitative research around to just check the numbers of AI productivity gains, right? And recently they managed to do a study with there was three different types of use cases that they monitor. One of them was customer service. The other one was writing business documents, so basically writing a report or something. And then the
Yeah.
other one was coding, so was having code reviews and assistive coding. So out of those three, assistive coding had 300% productivity gains over a week. So it was like ridiculously high because having some sort of co-pilot can help you to identify where there are mistakes on the code. So, and it would take hours for a developer or other developers to review that code. So they save 300% of time by using AI to help, right? Of course, this was measuring people doing these jobs with AI assisted. Basically, they had an AI assisting their jobs. Like for example,
As an
in the
intern.
case yeah, in the case of a in the case of customer service, they would look ask AI to get some responses in regards to the database of that company, so they can assist customers. And writing business documents, I think it's pretty straightforward. Basically,
Yeah.
somebody helping, I guess, the core of it, and then you just add it and refine it. So pretty
No,
interesting.
I totally agree, and I feel that some of the documents they are the same. They use the same structure, the same content. Sometimes, if you do tenders, I think we already talked about that in the previous episodes. If you write tenders to get some jobs from the municipalities and from the government, they need you to write some tasks. That they're the same. The so if you take it that from the source, from a database that is already done, you save a lot of time. You don't need to rewrite. I used to do that in Brazil, and then we took old documents, copy it, and then of course change a little bit. But if some machine do it for you automatically, then you can just review it with a clear mind. Because I remember after one day working in these documents, your mind was like exploding. So much information, so much attention that you need to put in effort to change and locate the file. So anything that can help that and improve the productivity, it's welcome. And so there's one phrase that I think it's interesting, that Hoffman said, that it's, you may not only work at multiple companies in your career, you may work across different industries with constantly evolving paths. This shift may see you working for a gig economy or juggling multiple gigs. That's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I mean, from my perspective, this is something that I've always done. So I always had a full time job, a 9 to 5 traditional job, basically in advertising or design. But I would always try to do something on the side. Of course, more as a hobby, like or but at the same time, those things kind of like they can become product. They can become something else. So I've done some logo design on the side, basically just for fun for some friends, and I've also wrote some scripts. I learned how to write movie scripts. I've also created my own game, this
Nice.
kind of stuff. So I think it's I like the fact that you can do different things. So but at the same time, I understand that a lot of people won't be that comfortable with that. It's a new reality, right? You will have to get comfortable by being uncomfortable.
Yeah, yeah, I feel the same, and I feel that I have experienced a little bit of that too. Like I always have side gigs, and like I worked in an office in Brazil, and I was starting a company by myself with some friends. So we're working double time, So things that I like. I like to use different tools. For example, I have different. I'm an architect, so in my daily work, I'm an architect. After that, I'm an entrepreneur, So I do other stuff, do business stuff, Like so for me, it's interesting. I like this multiple tasks, and different usages of our skills,
But
And
also,
just
I always advise designers to have a side project because it nurtures your creativity, right? So you because even in the most hectic work environments with a lot of things, and if you are involved in a lot of different projects, it's still the same company with the same rules, uh, with the same structure, the same methods, and the same processes. So you get a little bit of a routine vibe, and if you do work on the if you do work on a side project, then you get a chance to explore different things, learn new tools, learn new things, and also at some point that might you might use that in your daily job as well. It goes both ways, but at least it challenges your creativity a bit. It brings you something new, gives you some fresh material to work with.
yeah, I agree with that, and I feel that it's nice because if you stay only doing the same, I would like to be a generalist, like to have to work with multiple softwares, to have different skills, and to change tasks all the time. I cannot see myself doing the same thing using the same software for 20 years. For me, it's boring. So I do I do like this perspective of working with different industries, with different people, with different tools, different skills. So I do agree with you, like, and I believe in the same as you. So talking about gig economy and job flexibility, um, I particularly haven't. I think I mentioned that before, but I haven't knew about gig economy before this article in this interview. And then I was searching for that, to understand a little bit more. And then some platforms like LinkedIn, they're trying to increase the freelancing and contract based work models, which for me it's interesting how they're doing that. Now I have received emails, from LinkedIn saying like, you might be interested in this work, So there's a freelancing that they're sending me by mail. And another thing that he mentioned in the article is that companies are more valuing skills over static roles, So if they are valuing more skills, then it's easier to hire someone to do something in a freelancing model, instead of hiring someone that will have a static role.
Yeah, and especially we're when you are facing an economic crisis, right? Companies have less money to invest in multiple projects, and they also have less money to hire new people. So hiring freelancers for this instead of fulfilling like a full-time role, it's more economic viable for them during this period of time, right? So they're investing more in getting people momentarily as a freelance for a specific project than hiring full-time. So I'm already seeing this happening as well. There's a lot more freelance contracts showing up, and I've seen that on LinkedIn as well. So perhaps this is already happening. It's just hard to notice when you are in the middle of it.
Yeah, and I feel that in moments of crisis, as the one that we are right now in Europe, with the rise of interest and the rise of the price of energy, the companies are suffering a lot, So um, there's a lack of work available. it kind of pushes people to start their own business, or their freelancing jobs, so they're kind of adapting to this new scenario. And I think that's what is gonna happen more and more, through the time, and with the automation of many tasks, with AI and different technologies that we don't envision right now, but they're like soon they will appear, So we need to be creative and adaptable to these new scenarios. That's what I envision, actually.
Yeah, and like we mentioned in this podcast a lot, you won't be replaced by AI itself. You will be replaced by people working with AI. At least in the first couple of years of this technology being implemented. Maybe in the near future there will be robots operating with those machine learning models running in their own systems, right? I've actually seen there's a San Francisco startup, I can't remember their name. They released like this robot that is powered by ChatGPT 4, and it's quite surprising to have like a robot that looks like a human that can perform some human tasks. For example, loading your dishwasher or grabbing an apple and delivering to this person. Of course, it's one of those tech demos that you have to look with a grain of salt
Yeah.
because a lot of them are fake. But they sold this technology to Audi, I guess. So they want to have these robots working on Audi factories,
Mm.
producing cars in in a year or so. So they are advancing a lot. So perhaps maybe in a near future, a lot of jobs will be replaced by artificial intelligence robots, which is
Yeah.
quite crazy. That's like a science fiction
Yeah, but it's gonna happen
reality.
if that some robots are already being created, and some there is a I saw a news like the first 100% machine work factory, so they were selling this in an advertisement, which is a bit scary, but at the same time is kind of the scenario that we're gonna have in the next few years, And I believe some tasks as like assembling a car, it's easier if you have a machine doing it. You diminish the errors, and it's a heavy work, to do the stuff and repetitive tasks, So I feel that's something that already happened, but I feel it's gonna happen more and more. Things will be more automatized during the years, and even tasks.
Definitely, I
For
think.
example, I have seen like if you're doing a plan, for example, a master plan for a urban design project, if you can use AI in the real time, so it renders the whole picture. So if you draw a pathway, it will put like some materials and a realistic drawing, so you can create in real time. So this will enhance a lot the sketches that we are doing for the next years, instead of doing like a hand drawing, then you need to do it your own, paint it or put some things on Photoshop. You can do it automatically. This is something impressive, and I feel these small things can already improve a lot the productivity in the work. Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah.
Curve.
Okay, we reached the end of our episode. If you're interested in how AI is evolving and how you can introduce it in your life, in your work, subscribe to the podcast in your favorite podcast service and follow us for more. Let's explore AI together. If you have any questions for us, you can reach out to us at hello@humanAIXP.com or connect with us on Instagram at humanAIXP. Thanks for listening. See you next week.